Oh, I'm so sorry, my little Brassicas. I haven't looked after you very well, have I? I'll try and do better next year. Oh, they got a little bit leggy and droopy. Needed potting on. Let's get them in the ground instead. Need to prep the ground first, though, or what's on it. So my potatoes are still in the same place. I need to find a home for them. So we'll put them over the far side. We'll be needing the street lamp covers to help protect the brassicas. But these trays are unscrupulously dumped with the potatoes, with the cloth bags with the unscrupulously dumped material in. So all I do, just check they're not split. Half level the ground out. We'll pop them on there. I tend to try and water from the bottom. I don't water until they sprout because the potatoes do an excellent job. I've got all the other potatoes on the other plot as well, but I might, because these potatoes had the temporary compost material from the temporary compost bins in, and the ones on the other side had the wormery in, I might keep them on separate plots. And then if we get blight, they're far enough away. So we've got tomatoes in the polytunnel, I'll have tomatoes outside. I'll do what I can. Blight can be an issue. The weather's been dry. We've had a very little amount of rain over the bank holiday weekend, which hasn't really done a lot, but the compost that we put on top is dry. But if we dig down, and this bed's got the sheep's wool in, I can make myself a jumper, guys. That should insulate, not insulate, hold the moisture in, and as it rots down, feeds the brassicas, he says. Right, let's get the rest of these potatoes moved out of the way as he tries to switch you off. The street lamps, I used to wash them, but then you can't part them. Then even if you can't part them, they still won't come undone. So sometimes they just need their persuasion hammer. Spacings for the brassicas, wherever the street lamps are. I'll crack on with that. And if you want to see how I open a coconut, leaving the shell, the flesh whole, I might do a video one day if anybody asks. That fooled you? No, it fooled me. Put them on the wrong bed. That one's a little bit too high for brassicas, as I've found out previously. So this first bed we layered with sheep's wool all winter, and there's some of the surplus that we was using at the bottom of the potatoes. Now my intentions are to try and move the sheep's wool or collect it, push the street lamp in, then use the sheep's wool around the bottom, hopefully to help retain some moisture and protect it from pests, etc. So I'm not sure how we'll get on here. Normally I'll just make a mark. This normally pushes in, but you can see we've got a little bit of resistance there, and these do help support. Oh, that's breaking down really well. It's had manure. Oh, that's quite solid. This is a no-dig bed. We can normally just use Using our fingers, just make sure you can see what I can see. Well, sort of. Hydrated lime, just a little bit. Remember, don't get it in your eyes, don't use it on a dusty day. My green magic are going in here, hopefully, if I can get them out without doing too much damage. They've had a good watering. They're a little bit long, so we're going to strip some of the leaves back. I think we can take it to about there. That's where it's come out of the ground a little bit. You're not going to be able to see this properly, guys, but I'm going to bury it right up to there. Remember, the Brassica family need firming in. Could have done with picking a clearer light, a lampshade, but let's have a look. But as you can see there now, that's nice and firm, even though it was nice and leggy. The sheep's wool will feed that Brassica. Let's cover it up because Sandra from Nano Worms said the sheep's wool does need to be buried. And then, of course, the lampshade helps support, and it also helps when watering. You just imagine just watering just anywhere. That compost will keep drying out, help retain the moisture. You know what compost's like. You pour water on dry compost, it goes straight through, leaving the top part dry, the bottom part wet. So that's first of the green magic in. I'll move over now to the other bed. I'm not going to bore you completely. So let's move on to a bed that's just had cardboard and manure, but I'm telling a complete lie. That's that bed over there. This is the bed that had the temporary compost bins on. Nice clean lampshade. And remember, don't dig down, remove the dry compost first, revealing the material from out of the compost bin. I've been using the hydrated lime and it's been helping my brassicas. Crop rotation does help as well. Would have to pick one that had got 2 in the cell, but this is the flower sprouts, which is a cross between a kale and Brussels sprout, so it's a mixed cross. This was sent to me by one of my viewers for Mrs. K. Just take those bottom leaves off. You can bury it, bend it, do whatever you want to it. The new shoots are coming up out the middle. And then the material that we used, my compost mix, just place that round there. I should have added a bit of sheep's wool as well. But no, let's keep the comparison. We'll see how those flower sprouts do. I've got some other crops I can plant in between. I've got plenty of onions, but today it's just brassicas. My channel isn't always about what you see me planting and growing, it's how to garden on a budget. When I retire, I might just bore you to death with all that. So if you're doing a video on chickens, etc., seed sowing, potting up, I'm not always keen on watching, but I do like to see new channels giving out new ideas. which then I can use on my growing spaces. I say everything's quite dry. I do try and water from different angles sometimes. Never really happens. Once they're established, I tend not to water the brassicas too much. These beds have been saturated over the winter, then we've had this dry spell which has dried the top. This will protect them from the pigeons a little bit before I put my nets on. I've got capability of doing 3 nets. I'm not sure how far the brassicas are going to go. But yeah, that's me planting the brassicas. I'll just go through the brassicas that I've managed to grow this time. It's always hit and miss sometimes. So they're the flower sprouts, the kale, Brussels sprout mix. Some more, they're the green magic, another one green magic over there. That seed was end date 2020, so that did well. It's cabbage, the greyhound. Wife loves the greyhound cabbages. Broccoli, Godzilla, with a few of the kale sprouts at that end. I've only got one label in there, so I'm thinking it's just one plant, he says. Never know with me. Here we've got Brussels sprouts, Red Bull. You can see a nice colour there. Lovely little sprouts they are, different colour. Another Red Bull sprout there. And then we've got some seed there from 2000, sow by end of 21. And these are the Brussels sprout Darkmar, but these are all chitted. So I'm not wasting my time. Always get full seed trays. That's a good job done. Now I can just potter about and get all these planted, and I can use another bed if needed. If you've liked the content, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the interaction. Leave me a comment. But preparing your beds well beforehand, this is where the temporary compost bins were. All the juices would have run out of that into here. Where I've planted the brassicas previously, they've gone mad. So tall. So they've got some of that material, and then it's just topped up with my homemade potting compost. And hopefully there'll be enough moisture below once they're established to keep them going over a long dry summer if we ever get one. Weather's all over the place, so we just have to do garden differently, shall we say. But I'm looking forward to these flower sprouts, a mix between the kale and Brussels. Have you grown those before? Are they any good? But many thanks to that viewer who sent me a nice little package. The sweet corn's chitting at the moment at home, and a few other little things that I've tried. Not everything was successful, but we can but try. Always concentrate on the successes and not the failures. Listen to your body and do little and often. It works for me. Since Mrs. K's been poorly, I haven't been up here for a long period. It's just been for the hour or two. I'm up here today for about 3.5 hours, 4 hours up early. So that, but I do enjoy just coming up here a little bit. It's my body's feeling it a little bit easier. I don't want to spend too long. If you like the content, why not consider subscribing? And like I say, leave me a comment, join in with those comments, give the comments a thumbs up. Interact. I like interacting. Creators who don't interact, I unsubscribe. I'd rather watch my fellow creators who've only got a few subscribers. Their content is very interesting because they garden differently. They're not gardening just for the sake of it and say, disaster, this is happening, that's happening. They're just ordinary gardening and you pick up ideas. And I hope that I'll give people inspiration to try and garden as cheap as we can. And try and use all your old seeds. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now. Don't forget the end screens. Full of excellent content from a wonderful creator. Don't know who he is, I'm sure.